Crafty Monkey channel. My name is Amanda and this is Rosie. In today's video I will be showing you two Indigoblu mixed media specials. This is issue 4 and issue 5. I'm a little bit behind, so I'll just move out of it. So this is issue 4, which is sort of autumnal themed, and then this is issue 5, which is Christmas themed. So we'll start with issue 4. So this is a mixed media magazine which comes with papers, stamps, dies. You can get it in most supermarkets. I've seen it in Sainsbury's, Asda, Tesco's, Morrison's. I think I got this one from Morrison's. And they bring out 3 or 4 a year. We've had 4 this year. They always launch it on the Craft Store channel here in the UK, and if you order it from there you get a free gift. It's a little bit more, but they sometimes give you a free gift of a couple of extra stamps or some paints, things like that, and you get it about 2 weeks earlier than you would get it in the shops. If you wait and buy it in the shops, it costs £12.99, but it's quite good value for what you get. So this is what comes in issue 4 of the magazine. So this one is now not available in supermarkets, but I imagine you could probably back order it from Indigoblu's website or other crafting websites or the Craft Store website itself. So it comes with a stencil. You've got some poppies here, and then you've got like a pattern, background pattern here. These are really nice stencils. I've used these a lot. They're quite a thick mylar. You don't get a lot of bleed through underneath. You have to be a bit careful with some of them because they're quite delicate. So I would use a proper blending tool or a sponge. Otherwise you're gonna lift the stencil up and rip it. But they're decent stencils. You can get some nice effects with them. So you get the stencil, and you get a die. So you got poppy and sort of like a poppy seed head and a leaf. Again, these are nice dies. They're nice and thin. This will go through a very small die cutting machine. Then something a little bit different than usual. We've got some rice papers. So you've got 4 different rice papers. This is quite thick rice paper actually. Rice paper is normally almost like tissue paper, but this is quite nice. You've got coloured ones, background motif, and then words. And then you have the stamp set. Bring that up. So you've got a full alphabet stamp along the top. This is one long strip. You could cut it apart if you wanted to. I'd leave it as a full strip and just sort of use it so sort of like do a sort of darker pink background, for example, and then stamp this over the top in a lighter pink, just to sort of add a hint of interest in the background. You've got this border stamp, got these little filler stamps, you've got some sayings here. And you've got this is big. You've got this big poppy here. I like this saying here: I don't really have a plan. I rely solely on caffeine and weirdness to get me through the day. That's quite an apt saying. You've got this solid at the bottom here. And then you have the magazine itself. Then you get the sort of contents page where it sort of tells you what's in the box, so you can see what those stamps look like a bit better. And then you get the step-by-step of how to do these tags on the card. This magazine caters for sort of all skill levels, from beginner level basic card making right up to more advanced home decor projects. So these are sort of how, you know, these are very basic beginner cards. So die cutting that leaf and the poppy and just layering it up into a wreath on a card front. Various ways to use those sort of alphabet stamps. You got an Upcycling Project. So this is a bit more advanced. You're going to need a few more materials for this. So you how to stamp onto ceramic and how to sort of lay a rice paper onto a bowl. You're going to need various different types of glue and varnish. Slap it on, which is Indigoblu's own sort of PVA glue sealant, or Mod Podge, which is the famous one everybody uses. You're going to need a different type of ink, obviously, to stamp onto ceramic, and certain types of pens, because you can't use alcohol markers onto ceramic. So this is quite a nice idea. You just sort of stamp out that one of those square sentiments onto sort of like a coloured piece of ombre paper, and then cut it out and layer it up in the background. That's a really nice idea. So these are some of the other products that Indigoblu do that I was talking about. So the Slap It On, which I mentioned for the sort of home decor projects, said it's very similar to Mod Podge. You've got their mixed media paints, their flitter glue, which is what they use for gilding flakes. There's some of their gilding flakes available here. They do texture paste. They do all sorts of different things. Upcycling an MDF project. And then you get the papers in the middle of the magazine. These are more sort of toppers. To cut these out, but you could use these sort of in between pieces as well. As I said in a previous video, it's thickish paper, but it's not construction weight, so I wouldn't fold this in half and make a card with it, but I would put it on a card blank and it would be fine. It's that sort of torn letter alphabet. These go through the full layer of the magazine, so they're A3, but they're A4 size pieces of paper. So these are repeating, but it is good that you get 2 of each. So that's the papers in the middle of the magazine. And these are Kinetic Cards. This is a bit more advanced. So you've got waterfall, or a lot of them remind me of those fortune tellers you used to make when you were at school. You know, sort of never-ending cards, things like that. So you've got a multi-way card, and the flip book or waterfall style card. and then a sort of pop out card. And then using the papers for card construction projects. This is to make a bottle bag. An exploding box is what they call those. I had to make a little gift basket. And this is using the stencil with gilding flakes. This is quite nice. This is not using any of the poppies at all. That's using those sort of filler circles that were on the stamp set. Stamping them all out, painting them all in different colours, but it looks really effective. The different types of inks, a guide to different types of ink. If you're new to this, it's quite interesting. So you've got your, your alcohol resistant dye, you've got your clear ink pads for embossing, water resistant ink pads, pigment ink pads, and then obviously the Tim Holtz distress inks and distress oxides. One's more chalk, which is the oxide, and one is more like an ink, which is the distress ink, and they do shades in both, so you can have it in a distress oxide or distress ink. He brings out a couple of new shades every year. Villainous Purple, I think, is the new one. It's a very, very deep purple. These are the Indigoblu workshops. And this is just using that large stamp that was in the stamp set, and sort of how to do different masking techniques. That's a resist with embossing powder, just stamping various segments of the poppy. And then this is watercolour. Do like watercolour techniques using ink. It's talking about Indigoblu in India. Some birthday cards. Again, a lot of these are not using the main poppy of from the stamp set and the theme of the magazine. These are just cards made using the free papers from the middle of the magazine. And then about their workshops and workshops abroad that they do. So that was issue 4. And this is issue 5. This is Christmas themed. This is currently available in supermarkets. I bought it 2 weeks ago from Morrison's, so it is available again, £12.99. So then it's all Christmas themed. So this one comes with what we normally get as standard in these kits. So you've got a stencil, you've got this big snowflake, you've got these little stars, a sort of more open snowflake, and then a sort of swirly Christmas tree. I mean, you could quite easily use this one in any sort of project. It's not really Christmas related, and you could certainly take sections of this one and just stencil out parts of it. That's the stencil. And then you've got the dies. So you've got a Merry Christmas, 2 small snowflakes, and then these stars, which I said are not overly Christmassy. You could use them at any point. So you've got the sort of sketchy drawn stars and then the sort of more solid stars. These will double cut, so you'll get a frame. And then you have the stamp set. So we've got a lot of words on here. Merry Christmas. Then have yourself a. We've got this sort of swirly design. Got pine needles, fern, holly. Got little snowflakes and joy. You've got like Christmas roses. They're not poinsettias. These are winter roses. You've got Christmas trees, and then you've got this sort of scribbly Christmas tree, which, depending on which way up you stamp that, it could be a Christmas tree or it could not. You've got this lovely sort of stars scattering. You've got those stars here. Tag, wishing you a very happy Christmas, and then you've got these almost like apothecary bottles or Christmas lotions in the middle. This is not overly Christmassy. There's a few sort of snowflakes in the background, but it would depend on how you stamped and coloured it really. This could be sort of any time of year. And then you have the magazine. So there's an overview of the items that were in the box. See these stamps better. So these are doing some sort of mixed media techniques on cards, frames, MDF. I mean, this is a very simple idea. You're just taking some glitter paste, putting it through the stencil, then die cutting out the words. Got a wreath built up from the snowflakes. So this is using the small dies with the stars and the snowflakes. These are sort of alternative Christmas colours, so pink, silver, blue, sort of mint green rather than the traditional bright red, bright green, gold, silver. So these are sort of Christmas gift ideas. So to do one of those light up bottles, decorating a gift bag, making your own wrapping paper. Making your own baubles, a Christmas wreath, and this is teaching you about the rule of 3. If you're new to card making or scrapbooking, things look better in odd numbers. They're more visually pleasing to the eye. So you put a cluster of 3, and if you do a cluster of 3, you do 3 clusters of 3. Or you do 5 dotted over the card. It just seems to work better. So this is quite a cool idea. So they've stamped that bottle design over a card with 3 stripes of paper down it. Very simple but very effective. Again, using glitter paste. This is a guide to different types of cardstock. In the last one it was different types of ink. So this is just using the star element of the kit. I like stars, I like anything with stars on. So this is quite nice, I quite like this one. It's quite a nice design. Then this is using the Christmas tree. This is quite nice, using the Indigoblu's metallic paints on black cardstock. You see how much they, you know, stand out against black card. Then we're into the papers section, the magazine. So these are in sort of pale blues and pinks and pale greens. That is not marked, that is meant to be like that. Quite like these colours. I quite like that they're not the traditional Christmas colours, because you could use these for just winter in general, particularly if you were just doing snowflakes and things like that. And stars, they're not all necessarily Christmas. Then we're back to the projects. So this is focusing on using the sentiments. This is using a combination of stencils and a few stamps. This is sort of a beginner's guide to stenciling. Again, some of their new product releases. I saw them using these sprays on the craft store. These are really good actually, because they don't clog up. There's a lot of mica powder in them, and if you've had sprays before, you know that they tend to clog up and you have to rinse the spray bottle out and you end up covered in ink. And these ones, they don't clog up, and they don't have a tube in the middle of them. They work by pressure. You spray them and then you have to dunk them in water just to make sure they aren't clogged up. But the colours are really nice, but they're quite expensive. I'm hoping that when we can finally go back to craft shows again, or I feel more comfortable about going back to the big craft events again, I might be able to get a set of these like a show offer. I've done that with Distress Inks before, you know, show special for X amount of pounds. So I would like to get some of these, but you know, £44 is quite a lot of money for some spray bottles that I won't use all the time. So this is taking some dies that you may already have, or something similar that you could use along with the sentiments. Shaped cards, and then we're onto sort of upcycled Christmas decor projects. So you've got this metal star. I've seen these sort of things in the range and Hobbycraft. You can buy them and then you can decorate them. I've seen crochet people, you know, make flowers and things to go around them. This is using papers, stamping out the Christmas flower, sort of turning it into a wreath and sticking it to the middle of the star. You've got an upcycled note card drawer and then a wooden star. All about Indigoblu's trip to India. Leonie, who is one of the presenters and demonstrators on the craft store, always goes on the Indigoblu to India, and she's one of sort of like the guest demonstrators. This is, I think it's £2,500. This is expensive, and I don't think that includes your flights. So yes, if you have that kind of money to spend, go for it, but it's a lot of money. And you've got some quick Christmas cards. These are very simple. These are just using the papers. Then this is just using watercolour techniques. This die is cropping up a lot. This is one of Indigoblu's dies. This is a nice die actually. You always get a section at the back of these for sort of male orientated cards. Sort of different ways to use the papers so they're not just Christmas. And that is issue 5. So that was just a quick flick through of Indigoblu's Mixed Media Specials issue 4 and 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.